How to cope with inner child trauma triggers. The first step in coping with early trauma and the triggers that affects your inner child is to acknowledge what is coming up. Be the curious observer of your inner child as if you are watching it from the outside instead of being in the vortex of that inner child trigger. The next step is to connect with your inner child. What we know is in order to heal our relationships with ourselves and others, first we must connect with our inner self. And in order to do that, we must first connect with our hurt inner child. So let your inner child know they're safe and they're never alone. Let them know that your adult self will always protect them. And then notice what are your behavioral patterns when your inner child does act up. For example, if you're in an argument with a significant other or even a family member or friend, notice how your inner child reacts. Notice the wounds that show up. Is your inner child feeling hurt or sad, angry, scared, anxious, empty, confused, lost, or abandoned? Hold gentle space for whatever feelings are emerging. By holding space for them, you're validating that you see them. Once you're able to make this connection with your inner child, it's important that you, as your adult self, give yourself the validation and the acknowledgement for truly connecting to your inner child before acting out on your emotions and early wounds. If someone triggers you, such as a partner, a coworker, a family member, a friend, begin the process of slowing down. Notice what is showing up in your body. It always starts there. Perhaps walk away from the situation if you can. Just let your inner child know you see them, you feel them, you hear them, and then connect with them. Let them know that your adult self is there to handle your fears, your anxiety, your sadness, your discomfort, or whatever else is showing up. Again, letting your inner child know they are not alone. As you do this, put your hands over your heart. Remind them that they are protected and your adult self is in charge and will be taking over. By doing this, your adult self is taking responsibility, therefore releasing your inner child to return to their appropriate child place. If your inner child can't seem to allow your adult self to take over and your equilibrium is off, go back to observing your inner child again and hold space for them. Be the curious observer once again, allowing the resistance to move through you, noticing it but not reacting to it. What is so powerful about letting your inner child what is so powerful about letting your inner child have the space to just be, you're actually giving them their power back, which they did not have early on. Acknowledging your inner child wounds allows you to free them rather than repress them. What is repressed must be expressed or we become a pressure cooker. You don't have to stuff your feelings anymore as you did as a child. What you're feeling is valid and you are safe now to acknowledge them and feel them. You may not always be able to catch your inner child's emotions and reactions, but as you learn to slow down, you will have a much better chance of expressing your emotions in a much healthier way. Healing begins through these experiences and walking through them to get to the other side. Healing your inner child is not a destination, but rather a living, breathing experience. You're learning to accept and have great compassion for that inner child, and sometimes you may backtrack, and that's okay. That is part of the healing process. For example, a while back, my wounded inner child was activated by a relationship with someone who was unavailable physically and emotionally. I thought I had done all the work I needed to handle with any situation that came my way. Well, my inner child had other plans for me. This unavailable person's withdrawal brought up all sorts of old abandonment issues and wounds. I was so panicked, scared, and completely lost. When we would part, I would be so sad and feel complete terror, as I did as a child. I second guessed everything and could not find my ground. I had to really slow down, do a lot of breathing, and reflect for my adult self what was really going on. I had to really connect to my inner child. And by doing that for my adult self, I was healing two parts. I was bringing them together, loving all of them, the inner child and the adult self. I didn't judge what I was experiencing, but rather gave all of my parts loving kindness and compassion. I reminded myself I was not going to fall into the abyss because I was feeling scared and alone. And I reminded myself these feelings were only temporary and they would pass. And by doing this, I could send love to not only myself, but even those who triggered my early wounds in the first place. Always remind your inner child that you will always be there to protect them and that your adult self can be accessed at any time. Remind them that triggers may come and go, but you will always be there for them, no matter what. If you'd like to learn more about my programs, there's a link in my bio for the Wake Up Recovery Program for codependence and toxic relationships. I have a dollar trial, so definitely check it out. Or you may want to get on my mailing list for Breaking Free from Codependency. That also is in the link in the bio. And I look forward to seeing you there. Bye for now.